You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Cosmos After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Cosmos After Show.
That's right, everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
With over 27 million weekly downloads, listened to in 75 different countries. Yes! Hit it, Scott! You can tell we're a barbershop quartet. We are the AfterBuzz After Show for Cosmos, a Spacetime Odyssey, Episode 5, Hiding in the Light. Once again, I'm JC, and across the table, let us introduce our wonderful host, starting with the gentleman in, is that a brick shirt, my friend?
Yes, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Who's to say? What's up, everyone? I'm Scott Moore.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dillon Chance.
And Dylan, I know you wanted to get something off your chest, and I want to give you this opportunity.
Emperor Chen's a dick.
Okay. Wow.
By the way.
Minute in, and we're already pulled off the we're off the schedule.
Yeah. The shots have been fired.
Yes.
I couldn't even wait for the gossip section to talk about that.
Is there really like Cosmos? Can there be gossip at Cosmos?
Sure.
Really?
Of course.
Okay. All right. So of course, no show would be complete without our ones and twos, run by the lovely Miss Roya. What's up, Roya? How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
We got a new one. We got a new engineer back here. Are
Yeah.
you ready
Yeah.
to go on the voyage of Cosmos?
I'm so ready, guys. Take me back. Back to science.
It's so right. She said, "Take us back," because basically it was an. I have trouble. Let's talk about our thoughts of the episode first.
Okay.
I have trouble when they do the history lessons. I like it when we go into space.
I do too. I agree. I feel like it gets to be kind of all over the place too, because it's really hard to keep a linear storyline going because you're kind of bouncing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, the space part is definitely my favorite part of the entire show, but, you know, it's important. We got to learn so that we know how we even discovered space.
Right.
Yes, it builds the foundation.
Right.
So we are where we are today and where we'll be tomorrow.
But it is tricky when they jump around.
It is, and also, like you were saying, I think it's good for us to learn a little bit more, you know, how we got to be where we got. But I miss the visuals too. I love the visuals when they go into space.
Oh,
and,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
You know.
out of any of the episodes, I would say this one was the one with the least amount of visuals outside of Earth. Compared to, think of last week, he's going into a black hole.
Last week was great.
You know, we were waiting
It's
for.
trippy.
The evolution one was pretty much all on Earth,
Oh, that's
I
true.
would say.
Well, the tardigrades.
But you had a lot of cool animations because
Yeah,
we
'cause you
were
were
just...
describing certain things that
all
were going
day.
on and microbes and.
And Roya, I want to keep you. Can you make sure my glaucoma dealer will be coming a little bit later because we're going to be talking about quantum physics
Oh,
in a
boy.
bit.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So
Makes your eyes hurt, and so you got to be able to.
I had to
Take
put my
medicine.
glasses on because my brain was starting to
Yes,
hurt.
you're actually not trying to look
I'm
smarter.
not trying to look smarter.
You actually have prescription glasses
these are
on,
prescription glasses.
prescribed by an eye doctor for you to see better.
They're not fake.
Shenanigans. They're fake. Completely fake.
Fake? All
Harry
right.
Potter fake.
So today we're going to be talking about basically the scientific method and its relation in the measurement of light and spectrum, correct? And how they played both in the history lesson of, I believe it is Matsu.
Yeah.
Yes, the wonderful Matsu. We're going to be talking about Matsu, Eben Al Hazen, and Joseph Fraunhofer.
Yeah, Fraunhofer.
Say that 5 times faster.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's start off with Mr. Matsu because, in a weird way, maybe I'm just looking for this, but I still think it's another jab at creationists. I may am.
No, I think this one was a jab at like what's the word? Just like tyrants, like tyrant societies where they limit people's.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more on that too, on dictatorships,
Yeah,
and,
dictatorships
and
and-
communist governments and things like that. They're trying to restrict people from.
They called it legalism,
Right.
where you basically, if I say it, you do it. Anything else?
No other
against
questions
the
about
law.
it. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It wasn't so much to me on that because we're focused on history. It felt more of a, you know, and he said it multiple times about science needs openness to be able to flourish, and
Right.
you got to be able to ask the questions and be able to kind of question authority, and over time because it wasn't even just with China. As we go further along the episode, it was with some of the other governments holding secrets back and not letting things be open.
I almost think that was alluding to maybe this is just me, maybe you call me a crazy conspiracy theorist, but maybe it was just talking about how like the path we're starting to go down with our government starting to be very
Thought police?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Very controlling and very like they know everything we do, and they,
he actually said thought police a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
So they just sneak it in.
It's
there.
like we're on the edge, and we got to make sure we don't. Matsu even said, I think it was Matsu or maybe it was Al Hazen, but one of them said, "Do not just bow down to authority. You always have to question authority and question everything."
I believe it was Hazen. I believe so. And guys, once again, we just finished watching it. What is it about? Like
10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's 10, yeah, we finished about 10, 15 minutes ago. So to digest this and break this down, and we welcome all the comments. And before we go any further, I do have to say hello if you're watching us live on AfterBuzzTV.com. Hello. And if you're not, make sure you tune in on iTunes. Send us your comments. Give us 5 stars. We could really use it. Give us a pay raise since we do get AfterBuzz dollars and we can redeem them for prizes.
Yes, we do. I know we use our AfterBuzz tickets to.
I used all mine to buy Coke today.
Did you really?
I was thirsty.
I use mine to get
Coke.
water.
Yeah.
You're gonna make
AfterBuzz mug.
You're gonna get a sidetrack here, Dillon. 3 weeks in, and who are you?
I know.
Man? No, but let's get into because I know you guys have thoughts on this. On Matsu was he now the first person that discovered the camera oscura?
Yes, well, that's basically what they said over 2,000 years ago.
Okay.
That he was the first one.
What I'm wondering is
that.
they talked about him discovering that and figuring that all out. But then they talked about Emperor Chen coming in and burning all the books and scrolls and all that. So how do we know that? Did we find some scroll they missed?
Yeah, we had to because otherwise we wouldn't know that he even
Yeah.
existed. We wouldn't have known anything about him if it wasn't for something that was still there. Yeah.
And it just how interesting that the Matsu was because he was this military genius, and the fact that I know this to me it seems not necessarily in the cosmos realm, but it does flesh out the story of who he is or who he was. The fact that he was this genius when it came to the military, but he was a man of no violence. He did not. He wanted
peaceful genius.
Yes. And so he was such a forward thinker. He was a peaceful man in just all his discoveries from science. And he was the first one. And I think they said it was the early stirrings of the scientific approach.
Yes.
So not necessarily the method, but I mean, it was getting there.
He did because he had. I didn't write the third one down, but he was the one that was like, verify everything, apply everything, and there was a.
I missed the second one
was
actually.
Question its basis.
Yes.
Can people comprehend it?
Yep.
And can it be applied?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the verify and apply.
Yeah, verify,
and
apply,
question.
question.
And it was the basis for what we now know as modern scientific method.
And all of these men, what they had in common and what we all have in common, I think it's that they are all propelled by curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's the correlation between every single person we've talked about during this whole series, which is the basis, I believe, of science.
Yes.
And the kids that are watching these
Right.
shows that are going to be curious and are going to be our future astrophysicists, theoretical physicists, you name it.
Yeah.
So
That's why I love it. I mean, just like I was saying, I went to the science fair here in LA a couple weeks ago, and it's always incredible to see those kids. You're like, God, I feel so good. Like these kids are the ones, like they even said in the episode, like kids that are questioning why. Right. Why does this do this? Instead of just kind of standing back, these are the type of people that go ahead and try to figure out why things are happening the way they are.
any future Neil deGrasse Tysons in there? In the bunch?
Hopefully there's a few. I know they're
Nice.
way smarter than me, so that's good for our future.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
So speaking of starts or endings, so there was a 1,000-year gap between Matsu and our next discoverer, which was Eben Al Hazen, who was voiced. I don't know if you guys picked up the voice.
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't.
Alfred Molina.
Really?
Yes. Alfred
Wow. I don't notice anything if I'm like totally oblivious. Never noticed voices.
Run by who that is.
He was Doc Ock and Spidey 2.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay.
lot-
tons of
Okay.
stuff.
I didn't recognize the name.
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of great, fantastic.
I know who
actor.
he is now.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now what his discovery was basically. At first, we thought that when we opened our eyes, that our eyes would send beams of light to stars, and the stars would bring them back to us.
And that was like
That
a
was the-
laser light. That's what I kept thinking in my
Yeah.
head. It's like laser eyes. Like, shoot
That
lasers.
was what the scholars had taught
at the
them
time. Yeah,
That's
they
what everyone thought.
And this was in the 1100s. So what's fascinating is that it doesn't. They've shown us different. You know, Europe's Renaissance of science or their golden age of science was in what the 1600s to then on.
Yeah, Galileo and then onward.
Yeah, I'd say go back a little bit earlier, but yeah,
Sure,
and
absolutely.
that in that time period,
Right.
yeah.
Copernicus and whatnot.
Yeah,
yes.
1500s
And then in the 1100s, it was the world, the Islamic world had discovered science.
and it seemed very like it was an enlightened period too, you know, where they'd mentioned Christian and Jewish scholars were going to these places and everyone was kind of exchanging ideas and they were very big on trying to find as many books as they could find instead of the opposite way of like, let's burn books and things that if we don't agree with it kind of thing. This was like an enlightened period.
Right.
So basically, so maybe the theme is that was the theme of the episode, disguised as the scientific method and the discovery of light, just underneath it all. Like seems like that's what's sticking with us.
Yeah, there were definitely little political things here and there
Oh,
that were in there. But going back to him and his discovery about how he was curious. He kept saying, okay, there's no way that our eyes could go all the way out to the stars. They're so far away and be able to bounce back in a blink of an eye. So he realized that obviously we weren't the ones shooting things out of our eyes that were bouncing back. It was the other way around.
We are not Cyclops.
Right. But, you know, it's the thing of that time period. You know, everyone thought the Earth, you know, everything revolved around the Earth. It's that same kind of thought, like, oh, we're the center of the universe kind of thing.
Humans are the greatest creation.
It's sort of that same line of thinking when you're saying, oh, it's coming out of my eyes and projecting back instead of the other way around. So
he ended up taking a step further with the. Is it still the camera obscura? You know, but I also wanted to mention one thing. They snuck in a line right before they went into that his experiment, where he mentioned billions and billions.
Oh yeah, with the zeros.
Yes.
Oh yes, with the Arabic numerals and the concept of zero
And I don't know if you guys know this little factoid that I picked up weeks ago in research, and I don't know if we've mentioned it here. That little term is always associated with Carl Sagan, and he actually never said that. Never ever said that. People assume that he said it. I swear you can look it up, and everyone thinks that he never said it. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will.
Oh, they will.
And show us the clip. Did he not say it in the show?
I believe, because for some reason people have gone on and said billions and billions. It was Sagan's, but he never actually said it.
It's actually McDonald's that said it with billions and billions served.
Sir, there we go. Please correct.
There you go.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So let's go into the experiment of the Camera Oscura, where he got the tent and explained about how light is fixed, how light is always light moves in straight lines. Now, how did he come to that conclusion?
He took a ruler. Remember, he said he took a ruler to it and put it up there, and you could see that the light was going straight.
And he just did that pinprick there.
Yeah, that one little pinprick.
Everything else was covered.
And so is that what parlays into the future of the creation of the telescope? Okay.
And cameras and
it's all the basis of all that is the camera obscura.
And you guys watching us live. There we go.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
That's exactly what.
Like there it is, right
you
there.
You guys are the scientists. Remember, I'm usually talking about science. No, but of course, Scott. I mean, once again, I have to mention what you're working with. Is it your meteorology club?
Oh yeah, it's our American Meteorological Society, the Los Angeles chapter. I'm the chairman,
Ooh,
so I nerd out.
chairman.
So there's a little bit of weather stuff in here that I'm kind of excited to talk about too.
See, and of course, Dylan, don't be laughing here.
No,
You've got this fantastic.
You've got your glasses on, and you have that Facebook group that's pretty incredible. You need to let everybody know.
You're listening to Cosmos.
No, I believe it's the cosmic.
Yeah, I was just joking, saying my glasses made me smarter, but they don't. Yes, I co-run a Facebook page called facebook.com/acosmicperspective.
And you've got news. You're putting up stuff every day.
All the time, as much as I can.
And
Not every day, but I try.
Well, you're going to tell us something about Mars
Stalker.
a little bit later.
Yeah,
correct?
we'll talk about that later.
Okay, that's coming up in news and gossip. So let's move on and finish up with
Lots of gossip.
Mr. Hazen, yes. And basically, he laid down more principles for the scientific method. With the meeting with the gentleman, how he I lost it in my notes here. Rat farts. There's just so much here, Roya. You don't understand.
I can't even read my own notes. That's the problem, is that I can't even read my own writing.
What I can say is that Dr. Tyson did explain that the beauty of science was that we discovered how to double our lifespan, to look into the past, to predict the future.
Yes.
All because of the scientific method.
Yes.
And communicate, and that's pretty amazing too, the way we communicate now as well.
You know, and I mean, we're moving. We're only 14 minutes in, and we're moving at the speed of Segway of light.
Of light.
And so, what is light anyway?
What is light?
Well, they talked about the photons, or, you know, those are the particles of light that make light. Oh, that was a good thing that he talked about, too. He talked about how photon is the only particle known to go from nothing to moving at the speed of light instantaneously as soon as it's created. And that's awesome.
Crazy. It is crazy.
That's the only speed it ever knows. Just, and it's... there it goes.
We have yet to discover something quicker.
Right. And he even said every time they push other particles to try to go as fast as light, they get slower, heavier, because they basically, like, I don't want to say they don't want to, but yeah, they can't.
They don't want to. They can't. I don't know. They're scared. They're scared of the light.
I'm going too fast.
Can you do the sound effect
I
one
gotta
more
slow
time?
down.
Which one?
The
You can use that. That's our AfterBuzz exclusive. That's where that originated from.
Yes.
All right. So with that said, we should move on to the one discovery Newton did not make.
Ah, yes.
You know, okay, I want to know, how did they know that he put down that magnifying glass to go get some dinner? That was,
Yeah, right.
I'm saying.
I think they used a little artistic license there for that
Yeah.
one.
No, don't do it. Yeah. That was good.
Can they? I mean,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just saying he missed it.
He
so
missed it.
It could have been
and-
anything.
Exactly.
okay.
Could have been anything. But, like, you know, going to eat dinner, that's pretty...
That's a good excuse.
that's a
You're
good
hungry.
excuse.
Dinner's ready. You're like,
And then you walk back in and you go, what was I doing this magnifying
yeah.
glass?
Oh,
Oh,
whoops, I forgot.
Yes. So this is what happens. So basically, we have to wait 150 years for this now, and thereafter, with once again, William Herschel is back again.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, what did this guy not do? From last, I mean, was it last week that we talked about him, or
the week before.
I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
you know, and that was, I mean, the brilliance of each of these people. I mean, and
I
this
know,
is
they're
before
geniuses.
Google. Sorry, I'm showing my age. So, well, let's now. Herschel experiment was the relationship between color and temperature, and in that's where we found.
Which I love that kind of stuff too. 'cause
Okay,
I think that's
Scott, take it
fascinating.
away.
Take it away.
Well, no, I was gonna say because that was a lot of the experience I saw this year with the kids at the LA Science Fair. They were trying to do like, okay, what color clothes should they wear would absorb more heat, and you know, different colors. So I do think that was really fascinating, and you know, the discovery of infrared. And that's why I think a lot of people, you know, if you even just want to toy around with some of the different lights and stuff, take a look at the satellites. Like, go on NASA's website, go on even the National Weather Service website, and you can really play around with these things because a lot of times they use infrared satellites, especially when they're tracking thunderstorms or hurricanes, because infrared is what we had learned in this episode is just below the red spectrum, and it detects heat. So in these satellites, you get to see how high cloud tops are, how strong storms are by the heat that they give off. So infrared satellites are fun. So it's definitely fun to play around with, you know, a lot of those things on those websites. So you should definitely have some fun with that.
That's
I
all.
mean, I nerd out to it.
No,
that's great.
But you'll
you
hear
know.
a lot of times when, especially during hurricane season, they'll say, "Oh, okay, on our infrared satellite," because you can see they'll color code the cloud tops,
That's all.
and it's all by heat.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for after news and gossip. Scott will be back with the 5-day forecast. So I'm just sorry. I had to. I'm sorry. He's gonna kick my ass after the show. So of course, let's move on to the third piece of this episode of Young Discoverers, and it's Joseph Fraunhofer.
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 His whole story
What
sounded
was-
like something from Disney,
I
didn't
know,
it? Like
it
a
did.
fairy tale type thing.
He
like,
was an orphan, abandoned,
and he was trapped with this
mistreated.
horrible guy that wouldn't let him read or
What
do
was that guy's
anything.
name? Did anybody write it down?
Oh, I did.
Weisberger.
Weisselberger. Yes.
God, what a scary sounding
Yeah.
name. Isn't he? I don't want to offend anyone, but I mean, just German names and language is scary sounding sometimes. Weisselberger!
We just lost Wiener Schnitzel as our sponsor. Great, man.
No!
Not the 99-cent chili dog.
Did you see that new commercial?
But it's
That's
such a
for the
great
after show.
But it is a great story. It sounds like a Disney story or some
Yeah.
kind of, you know, animated, because that's him, and then the prince comes and saves him and gets him out, and he gets to go to the school, and
It was a prince that saved
It
that's-
was.
or was it the king?
it was a prince.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, helped him
That's
get to the
amazing.
school. So it's a pretty incredible story. I think that story needs
Did
to be
we
told
just
now.
pitch an idea?
I think
to
we did,
Disney?
and I'm actually copyright. I own that now.
There we go. There we go. Fraunhofer in the hood.
Right. I mean, that's a
Perfect.
great story, and you can teach people some good science.
Yeah.
Well, now getting back to the show, it's
Hey, it's with the show.
You know, and the fact that he lived this in poverty, he was basically
Yeah.
a slave, but him living in this glass factory and creating glass is what helped him. That's what formed him to create these great things that the creation of
He knew everything about glass.
prisms.
Yeah, the prisms, exactly.
So I mean, so in a weird way, they say our previous circumstances make us who we are.
Absolutely.
And this is one of them where it ended up being a great thing for mankind.
Well, and it also goes to show too, again, like the fact that there are so many people out there that are never given the opportunity. They're kind of just thrown away in the sense that there's people that have great gifts and talents to give that are never able to.
Yes, great minds that will never be tapped because they can't afford it or don't have the
Or don't have the access.
Right.
Just don't have the access or the way to get it out. At least now we're in a better environment now where people can get on and tweet and, social media and things that they can get themselves out where in the past they couldn't. But it's still, there's a lot of access issues even today.
Okay, so unless is it Turkey, I believe, that blocked Twitter and YouTube?
They did for yeah. Luckily they unblocked it, but yes, they did.
Now this is where I start getting confused. Even the quantum stuff. This maybe even tells you why I don't know what I'm talking about. But I got confused with the differences between lights and sound waves and how light hits us and whatnot. How red is the longest form. Okay, let me start from the beginning. We go to the Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's playing the organ.
Sure.
He's just whipping away. And does he play? I wonder if he does.
I don't know.
I
It
don't
seemed
know.
like he did.
I
but
didn't
that
think
could
he
have been
did.
The
but
magic of the camera.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think he did, but I was like, because that's why it was this nice excuse to like get up right away when the other guy was there.
And what was with the effect, the sound wave effect, and how interesting is that about the short? Okay, now this is the one I had a tough time with. The short tubes create long waves of sound. Is that what it is? The high pitch. Well, let me explain it. Okay, a high pitch equals short waves.
Yes,
and the
shorter waves.
Okay, I thought I got them backwards. And the low
Yeah.
pitch equals long waves.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How did they slow down the waves to discover that? Because he said we slowed down the waves. He said that during the show.
Oh no, he was talking about they slowed them down so we could see them because they actually move a lot faster.
Exactly,
than
because they're not visible.
Roy, I told you this science thing is kicking my ass.
And the thing about the sound waves having to basically hitch a ride on matter to be able to move about.
Yes.
That
Whereas
was
light waves
fascinating.
don't have
light,
to.
light waves move through
Their
anything
own.
and nothing.
Yeah,
but
they're on their own and they can do their own thing. But sound waves need something like air
Yeah.
or water or other molecules to be able to hitch a ride from and be able to be heard, basically.
And so is this where we see the merging? Is this where it comes up to the merging of Dr. Tyson's own realm of expertise? When they talk about the black lines, where we talk about
Yeah,
the discovery
right.
of the prism that that Fraunhofer discovers.
yes, because he took a telescope and put the prism in front of it to see, like, zoom in on it, and he's like, "This is where the sciences collide." So,
Yeah, and now and this is okay. Once again, we're moving on quickly too because I know we've only got a few minutes, so we
Okay.
got to move on to all the stuff you guys have to talk about. But I'm gonna jump forward. Let's talk about electrons.
oh well, don't forget that. I mean, this is important. The spectrum. Whenever he did that,
Right.
you see the
breakdown.
shadows or the breakdown in the
In
light.
between and yeah.
And that was due to the light like going through particles like
Right.
atoms, and each atom leaves its own type of shadow depending on the electrons and protons bouncing around. So that was where we discovered that every atom gives off its own signature like shadow basically in light waves. So that's
Once it hits it, sure.
right. That's
Yeah.
how we can look out and see what everything is made of.
Yeah, and I also again kind of like you had touched on, it's basically important to know again sort of like the wavelength of the sound determines the sound, the wavelength of light determines the color, and that's when he had kind of colored the whole palette there with the flowers and
Yeah,
the
that was
longer
cool.
wavelengths are red and whatever energy is absorbed by it, like the flower petals.
So like for
absorb the
instance,
red, the longer wavelength, and that's why it appears
Scott's
red.
brick shirt
Exactly.
Yeah.
is absorbing all the other colors.
Yeah.
But the red and the violet are still shining through.
Exactly.
If you're not watching, please do.
I'm giving you a vivid detail.
Well, no, I mean, because it
of
basically
Scott's
is. I mean,
shirt.
that's what for us. That's how we perceive the frequency and the energy of the light.
Yeah.
Is through the color. So that's how we're seeing everything in front of us
Okay.
by what it absorbs.
Do we go into this? We've only got about 10, 12 minutes, guys, so we have to get into the quantum realm.
Well, we talked about it. I mean, it was about the atoms giving off their own shadows.
I was just thinking how cool he shrank the spaceship of the imagination.
So like 10 billion times the size.
Yeah, where I'm still having a hard time where
Yeah.
the electron, disappears.
Yeah.
And reappears like from one level to another.
Yeah, he said the example of the elevator. It
Being
goes
on the
from
second
level 2
floor to the fourth floor when you disappear in between the two third
You
level.
don't exist in
Yeah.
between.
And I'm going to
On the
get
third
killed
floor.
on this one. What is in between? What happens in between?
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
Crickets, I'm saying. Let us know. Let us know what
scary.
you think what happens in between that. Because no one knows,
Yeah.
right? We don't know that yet. So
Well, it's like the dark
Well,
matter
and
what
he
we went
said,
into.
he said,
It's like
and it
black holes.
It jumps up orbits. Like the bigger it is, the more energy it has. The smaller it is, the less energy it has. And they say when it hits certain light waves, that's how it goes up. That's how it gets its energy. But no one knows how it goes down. No one knows it loses it.
oh man, last week
Tricky.
the Big
there's so
Big
many
Bang.
mysteries.
This week breaking down just a quantum level.
Well, that's what they even say. It's like the more that you discover, the more mysteries there are, and that's true in a lot of ways because then there's more questions.
It's like a
Once
child
you-
going, why?
Yeah, once
Why?
you find out the answer to one thing, then it's like, wait, but now why does it do this?
Yeah.
So we can say, as they said on the show, is Joseph Fraunhofer brought the stars closer to us. So in the end, it was his story I find fascinating.
No, I find his story incredible. That's why I said it feels like a story that needs to be told.
Now, have they talked about him more in publications? Have they talked about him more so than because I haven't heard of Hazen or
No,
Matsu
I learned
either,
about him, but
so-
it was again very brief. Like it was just the sciencey, dry. There wasn't. I don't remember any of the detailed stories about his upbringing and all that. So I think it's important.
So this is going to bring like the kids or the people that don't have that interest in science with the version of the way this show is being portrayed. The way it's showing these stories, it's going to spark that interest in science.
Hopefully, yeah. It's not
Hopefully.
such a dry. Just this is what they did. This
Parents
is when
at
they
home.
lived. This is
Make
you
your
know.
children watch this show.
All right, and of course, let's finish up with Dr. He wasn't a doctor. He was just Joseph Fraunhofer, who ended up. Now, at the end, he gave away his secrets, right?
To the government. Mm-hmm.
To the government, and that was for the glass, for the like,
optics.
special glass that they had and the optics or whatever. But he did reveal and publish all of his work on spectrums.
Because he believed once again because.
Science
We're saying
is open source,
And it should be.
and it should be always.
I love how they tie it up so well.
Yeah, they do.
Every episode, you think why are you taking us in here? But there is a rhyme and reason. And once again, a beautifully written episode by Andrian. So, and I'm trying anything that we might have missed in the end of the episode, the symphony at the end with the merging of the light and sound.
Which and also again the fact that it's really fascinating about all those different layers of light that we just don't see with the naked eye, and that was a great way of being able to portray it at the end there with the city,
With the
New York
X-ray,
thing. Yeah, with the infrared, the X-ray, the radio lights, the gamma ray lights, the microwave lights. I mean, all of that is really, really, really cool.
So for us hating the history lessons so much, I guess we kind of liked it.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
So once again, a great episode. So let's move on to some, I believe, news and gossip.
AfterBuzz.
All right,
TV News.
Scott's news. What do you got for us this
Ooh,
week?
Scott's news.
Yes, well, we were talking about this. It was from episode 2, I believe, of Cosmos about the different mass
Hall of
extinctions.
Extinction, sure.
And this was about the end Permian event about 250 million years ago that wiped out nearly 90% of Earth's life. And again, we went into detail with that when we were going through all that in episode 2. And some of the latest news is saying that it could have been caused by microbes. So
good.
those little tiny microbes
Little tiny things that we can't do anything
could have
about.
been, yes, exactly. Well, and that's something else that's been they've been talking about too. Even just the bacteria and different things that are in your body could affect if you're obese or not. Like there's all these new science things that
Oh, I've
say
heard
how
about
much
that, too.
like microbes really affect the balance and chemistry for everything, for living beings, but also for the planet Earth. And so they were saying that this happened.
I think they gave me a migraine.
Well, no, I actually read a thing one time where basically all of our decisions are based
Right.
on the microbes and bacteria in our body, just making sure that they stay alive.
Absolutely, I've heard that as well. Absolutely, I heard it
creepy.
on the Joe
Yeah.
Rogan episode.
I don't have free will.
So yeah, they were basically saying that this tiny life form had been able to change the chemistry of the planet, adding a little more acidity, just enough to be able to kill off most of the life forms. So that's pretty crazy there, and you can definitely read more about this from
Where'd
the
you read
LA
that?
Times.
LA Times?
Yeah. And then the other thing that was interesting too, because we talked about this too a couple weeks
Yay.
ago too, about Saturn's moon Enceladus that may harbor a watery sea underneath of all of that.
I think it's in the South Pole, right?
Yes, it's in the south area, and it's basically the size of Lake Superior. Wow. And yeah, it supports the idea that this tiny world could be friendly to life as we know it.
They talked about how people questioned, like, why didn't the water all freeze? Because it's very cold, obviously. They think it's due to Saturn's gravitational pull on Enceladus. The way that the gravity is so strong and it pulls us, that the inside of it shakes so much that the water can't freeze. So it's always liquidy, so it stays nice.
Yeah, and it's exactly what it was. They're using the gravitational data, and again, using NASA's Cassini spacecraft, they've determined that it hosts a very large southern sea. And also, because it's underneath the frozen layer, too, it's kind of sealed under there as well.
And didn't they take that with infrared?
Yeah, probably.
It's all coming together.
But again, that's again with the satellite. That's what's fascinating. If you ever look at these things, you can see the satellites and the different things that they look up, and it's pretty fascinating how they can determine what's underneath the surface there.
And we sent Dillon to Mars, didn't we?
I would love to have gone to Mars, but sadly I didn't. But some fun news about Mars. Some of you may have noticed or seen. I think I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's Tuesday. Is Tuesday the 8th?
Yes.
I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Tuesday.
It's called Tuesday. Today of the week.
No. On Tuesday, Earth will pass directly in between Mars and the Sun. And so basically when the Sun sets, Mars will rise exactly opposite of it. And if you look in the sky, you'll be able to see Mars like perfectly. We're perfectly in the middle.
Will you be able to see it everywhere, though, like in the northern southern hemisphere?
That you're going to have to do your own research on. I just know that
we can only take you
I can only
there.
take you so far.
Yeah.
But then the next week, because of the weird orbits of Earth and Mars, the next week, I think it's the very next Tuesday, in the middle of that night, is actually a lunar eclipse.
Yes, on the 15th. I was going to mention that there's a lunar eclipse.
It's a blood moon, is what they like to call it. But that's the night that Mars will be the closest to Earth that it has been in 6 years. So at certain viewpoints in the night, like if you're in the right area and you look up in the sky, you'll be able to see Mars larger than it has been in the last 6 years, glowing red in the sky right next to a big red moon.
Yeah, and I think we will be able to actually see that lunar eclipse, I believe. I know the Pacific and South
true.
America, but I think we will be able to see it here in North America.
No, it's true
well.
because they said this is the first one that North America has been able to see since 2011.
Yeah, because there is a solar eclipse on April 29th, but only Antarctica could see it. So like 2 people will be able to see the solar eclipse.
And some penguins.
Yeah, and a couple penguins, I know, but that's April 29th. So there's a lot of eclipses of some cool things going on this month.
Like to look up into the sky and see those cool things.
But it is April 15th
Wait, I
for
got
the
an
lunar
idea.
eclipse.
If you guys are listening on the 15th, take pictures, send them to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Please.
Send us your shots of the eclipse. That'd be great. And
the lunar eclipse. And Mars, if you have a nice telescope to look at Mars, that'd be great.
And we'll try to post them on the
will,
show.
absolutely.
We'll try while we're recapping the show.
That would be great.
Yeah, and we'll shout you guys out as well. So thank you for
definitely.
news and kind of gossip.
Well, stars like to talk about other
They
stars.
do, of
right?
course. And
The
breaking up with
sun
other
is always
stars.
talking about Centauri.
Roya, get us out of here. Predictions.
Centauri had a new girlfriend.
Okay, it's not necessarily predictions because how do we predict what's going to happen next week in Cosmos?
I know.
The universe will get bigger.
Yes,
What did
and
we
bigger.
get?
And bigger.
Okay, well, you know what? Okay, that brings me to a quick point. And he talked about dark matter.
Oh, yes, dark matter.
Yes. Okay, so doesn't this tell us that this is Dr. Tyson's own theory, I believe, that the universe will end because of dark matter? Because it's pushing everything away in such a way that it actually will cool off the universe till there is nothing.
Everything will fade out.
Yes. There's a prediction.
No, that is a big prediction.
But next week, all I think we're really seeing is the only thing I noticed, he said movies in your head.
Yeah, about memories and kind of going into like,
smells.
why does the smell, bring up a memory and
Right.
different things like that.
So it's bringing in all together that one episode where we broke down the eye.
Right.
Right.
Well, and he even talked about the eye. He said
did.
there's more atoms in the eye than there are in there are
there are
galaxies.
stars or
Was it stars
I
or
think I
galaxies?
believe
Either
it
way.
was stars.
You let us know, fans.
the
We
universe.
know you will.
Yes.
Oh, it was great. That's amazing.
That's a
It's
wrap for
crazy.
us. So, Dylan, where can they find you?
You can find me here on the Grim AfterBuzz or on Twitter at Dillon Chance or check out facebook.com/A Cosmic Perspective.
Scott, once again, an awesome episode, brother. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's sman80, and here Monday nights for Archer. And also, I have a scientist from JPL, Josh Willis, on my own podcast on Wednesday nights called On with Scott. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be able to tweet it out. But it's Wednesday night, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And yeah, he's going to talk about oceanography and some of the ocean currents and all that. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll have him on here, Cosmos, in a couple weeks as well.
There you go. It's on the internet. So it
Yeah,
must
Wednesday
be true.
nights. Yeah, gotta tune into that. So it'll be good times.
And Roya, thank you so much for putting up with us. Where can we find you? Aside from engineering, like half the programming here at AfterBuzz.
Right.
You guys can find me on Twitter at HeyRoya. That's HeyRoya.
Hey.
And guys, so many students are probably really happy if they listen to your podcast because you wrote their essays pretty much.
Yeah. Hey, and don't forget you're on Monday night with me on Archer too.
Oh yeah, and
Come
Archer,
on.
guys. Duh.
Just trying to distance yourself from me after this episode.
You know, Roya, I don't know about writing their essays because it seems like
Sorry about that. I was trying to mute myself, not you.
Just trying to cut you off.
And you
people have been trying to mute me for years. It just doesn't happen. No, Roya, we're going to end up giving them a C on their papers. So
D-.
But if you still want to take our notes, please, you can follow me at JC Rubio TV on Instagram and Twitter. And speaking of stars, I will be covering the red carpet tomorrow night on Dancing with the Stars for AfterBuzz TV. So for Dillon, Scott, Roya, I'm JC, and we're your Cosmos After Show. Good night, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.